December 15, 1992. Toloshinas, Switzerland. Audrey Hepburn's bedroom. She's dying. Colon cancer. Weeks left, maybe days. Her two sons, Sean and Luca, sit beside her bed discussing practical matters. The will, the estate, the belongings. "What about your dresses, Maman?" Sean asks gently. "The Givenchy collection? Should we donate them to a museum?" The Met has been asking for years. Audrey's eyes are closed, but she's listening. She's weak, but her mind is clear. "No," she whispers. "Not the museum." "Then where?" Luca asks. "They're worth millions. They're part of fashion history." Audrey opens her eyes, looks at her sons. "Tanja," she says quietly. "Give them to Tanja." Sean and Luca exchange glances. They know Tanja Star-Busmann. She's been in their mother's life for 15 years, a friend, a companion. But this decision shocks them. "All of them?" Sean asks. "The entire wardrobe? The breakfast at Tiffany's dresses? The My Fair Lady gowns? The Oscar dress?" "All of them," Audrey confirms. Tanja understands their value. She'll know what to do. What Sean and Luca don't know yet is what Tanja will do with those dresses. How she'll auction them one by one. How she'll make millions from their mother's generosity. How she'll become wealthy beyond imagination from Audrey's final gift. To understand what happened, you need to go back to 1977, when Audrey Hepburn met Tanja Star-Busmann at a charity event in Geneva. Audrey is 48 years old, recently divorced from Andrea Dotti after 13 years of marriage and 200 confirmed affairs. She's living in Switzerland with her son Luca, trying to rebuild her life. She's lonely, vulnerable, desperate for genuine friendship. Tanja Star-Busmann is 35, German-born, married to a wealthy Swiss businessman. She speaks multiple languages fluently. She's cultured, sophisticated, and she's completely starstruck by Audrey Hepburn. The charity event is for UNICEF. Audrey is the guest of honor. She's giving a speech about children in need when she notices a woman in the audience crying. Not subtle tears, sobbing. Genuinely moved by Audrey's words about starving children in Bangladesh. After the speech, Audrey approaches the woman. "Are you all right?" she asks gently. "I'm so sorry," Tanja says in accented English. "Your speech was so powerful. I have children. I can't imagine what those mothers go through." They talk for 20 minutes. Tanja is different from other people who approach Audrey. She doesn't ask for autographs, doesn't mention movies, just talks about the children, about suffering, about responsibility. Audrey is charmed. This woman seems genuine, caring, real. "Would you like to have coffee sometime?" Audrey asks. "I don't have many friends in Geneva." Tanja's eyes light up. "I would love that." It's the beginning of a friendship that will last 15 years and cost Audrey's sons millions. 1978 to 1985. 7 years. Tanja Star-Busmann becomes Audrey's closest female friend. They have coffee weekly, take trips together, shop together, talk for hours on the phone. Audrey is genuinely grateful for the friendship. After 2 failed marriages, after years of loneliness, she finally has a woman friend she can trust. Someone who listens, someone who cares. But there are signs, warning signs that Audrey either doesn't see or chooses to ignore. Tanja is always asking questions about Audrey's work, her contracts, her finances, her wardrobe. "That dress is exquisite," Tanja will say during their coffee meetings. "Is it another Givenchy original?" "Yes," Audrey replies. "Hubert made it specially for me, for the UNICEF gala." "How many dresses has he made for you over the years?" Tanja asks casually. "Oh, hundreds," Audrey says. "Since 1953. He's dressed me for almost every important moment of my life." "They must be worth a fortune," Tanja observes. "I suppose so," Audrey says. "But I don't think about their monetary value. Their memories. Each dress tells a story." Tanja nods. But she's calculating. Even in 1978, vintage Givenchy pieces are selling for thousands at auction. Audrey's personal collection would be worth millions. These forgotten stories deserve to be told. If you think so too, subscribe and like this video. Thank you for keeping these memories alive. 1982. Audrey starts giving Tanja clothes. It begins innocently. Audrey cleans out her closet and offers pieces to her friend. "This Givenchy suit is too small for me now," Audrey says, holding up a navy blue ensemble. "Would you like it? We're about the same size." Tanja accepts gratefully, takes the suit home, has it appraised privately. It's worth $8,000. For a suit Audrey wore twice. Tanja realizes she's sitting on a gold mine. She starts visiting Audrey more frequently, always complimenting her clothes, always asking about the history behind each piece. "Tell me about this dress," she'll say. "When did you wear it? Who took your photograph? Is there a story behind it?" Audrey loves talking about her clothes. Each piece connects to a memory, a film, a premiere, a moment in her life. She doesn't realize she's providing Tanja with provenance, authentication, the documentation that will make each piece more valuable at auction. By 1985, Tanja has received over 30 pieces from Audrey's wardrobe. Dresses, suits, coats, evening gowns, all Givenchy originals, all personally worn by Audrey Hepburn, all worth thousands. Tanja stores them carefully, has them professionally cleaned and preserved. She's not wearing them, she's collecting them. Audrey thinks she's being generous to a friend. Tanja knows she's building an investment portfolio. 1987. Audrey meets Robert Wolders, finally finds real love after decades of disappointment. She becomes happier, more secure, more generous. The gifts to Tanja increase dramatically. "I'm cleaning out my entire wardrobe," Audrey tells Tanja during one of their coffee meetings. "Robert says I have too many clothes. Would you like to take whatever fits you?" Tanja can barely contain her excitement. "Are you sure? These are valuable pieces." "They're just clothes," Audrey says. "I'd rather see them worn by someone who appreciates them than hanging in my closet gathering dust." That afternoon, Tanja goes to Audrey's house, spends 4 hours going through her wardrobe, selects 57 pieces, dresses from Sabrina, gowns from premieres, the pink Givenchy dress from her second wedding, suits from UNICEF appearances. Each piece is a piece of fashion history. Each piece is worth a fortune. Audrey helps her pack them up. "Take good care of them," she says with a smile. "They've been good to me." Tanja promises she will. But she's already planning which auction house to contact. 1988, Tanja's marriage ends in divorce. She gets half of her husband's assets, but it's not enough for the lifestyle she wants. She starts selling some of Audrey's dresses, quietly, through private dealers. Not major auction houses yet. She doesn't want Audrey to find out. A cocktail dress from the 1960s sells for $12,000. An evening gown from a film premiere brings $18,000. A simple day dress that Audrey wore to lunch with Givenchy himself goes for $25,000. Tanja realizes she's sitting on millions of dollars worth of clothing, and Audrey keeps giving her more. 1989. Audrey is diagnosed with colon cancer. She knows she's dying. She becomes even more generous, starts giving away possessions, jewelry to friends, artwork to museums, and more clothes to Tanja. "I want you to have these," Audrey says, showing Tanja her most precious pieces. The white Givenchy gown from the 1954 Oscars, the black dress from breakfast at Tiffany's, the ascot dress from My Fair Lady. "These are museum pieces," Tanja protests weakly. "They belong in the Met or the Smithsonian." "They belong with someone who loves them," Audrey insists. "Promise me you'll take care of them. Promise me they'll have a good home." "I promise," Tanja says. But she's already calculating their auction value. The Oscar dress alone could bring $500,000. December 1992. Audrey's final weeks. She's weak, but her mind is clear about her legacy. Sean and Luca are discussing her will, her estate, what happens to everything after she's gone. The Givenchy collection should go to a museum, Sean argues. It's part of fashion history, part of cinema history. It belongs in public hands. "No," Audrey says firmly. "Tanja gets everything, everything I haven't already given her. The remaining dresses, the accessories, all of it." Sean is shocked. "Maman, we're talking about hundreds of pieces, worth millions of dollars. This could be part of our inheritance." "Tanja has been a true friend," Audrey replies. "For 15 years, she's been there for me. She deserves this. She understands the value of these pieces. Not just financial value, emotional value." Luca tries to reason with her, but museums would preserve them forever. Future generations could see them, study them, learn from them. Audrey's decision is final. Museums are cold. These dresses have lived, they've breathed, they've danced, they've cried. They belong with someone who will love them. Tanja will love them. What Audrey doesn't know is that Tanja has already been selling her gifts for 2 years, making hundreds of thousands of dollars from her generosity. She's not preserving them. She's profiting from them. January 20th, 1993. Audrey Hepburn dies. The world mourns. Fashion mourns. Cinema mourns. But Tanja Star-Busmann sees opportunity. Within a month of Audrey's death, Tanja contacts Christie's auction house in London. She has over 200 pieces from Audrey's personal wardrobe. Dresses, gowns, suits, accessories, all authenticated, all with documented provenance, all personally worn by the most elegant woman in Hollywood history. Christie's is thrilled. This could be the fashion auction of the century. But first, Tanja has to deal with Audrey's sons. Sean and Luca are furious. They've discovered the extent of their mother's gifts to Tanja. They've learned about the secret sales. They realize they've been cheated out of millions. "You manipulated our mother," Sean confronts Tanja at the will reading. "You took advantage of her loneliness, her generosity." "Your mother gave me those dresses freely," Tanja replies calmly. "I have documentation, witnesses. She wanted me to have them. She wanted you to preserve them," Luca says angrily. To love them, not sell them for profit. I can do whatever I want with my property, Tanja states coldly. They're mine now. Sean and Luca consider legal action, but their mother's will is clear. Her gifts to Tanja were made while she was alive, of sound mind, with witnesses present. There's nothing they can do legally. They can only watch as their mother's legacy is sold to the highest bidder. September 1993, Christie's, London. The personal collection of Audrey Hepburn. The auction of the century. Tanja consigns 120 pieces, keeps the rest for future sales. She doesn't want to flood the market. The pre-auction estimates are conservative. $20,000 for the breakfast at Tiffany's dress, $15,000 for a Sabrina gown, $30,000 for the Oscar dress. The estimates prove to be laughably low. The breakfast at Tiffany's dress sells for £120,000, nearly $200,000. The Oscar dress brings £350,000, over $500,000. A simple day dress that Audrey wore to lunch with Jackie Kennedy sells for £80,000, $120,000. For a dress Audrey gave away because it was too tight around the waist. The total auction brings in £4.6 million, over $7 million. Tanja's commission, after Christie's fees, is over $5 million. From clothes her friend gave her out of love and trust. The fashion world is shocked. Not by the prices, by the fact that these intimate pieces of Audrey's life are being sold. This is grave robbing, writes one fashion journalist. These dresses should be in a museum, not in private collections. Givenchy himself is devastated. I made those dresses for Audrey, he tells reporters. They were part of her, part of us. Now they're scattered to strangers who bought them for profit. Sean and Luca Hepburn issue a statement. We are deeply saddened that our mother's personal belongings have been commercialized. She would have wanted them preserved for posterity, not sold for personal gain. If you want more untold stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Your support means everything to us, but Tanja isn't finished. The 1993 auction was just the beginning. Over the next 10 years, she consigns pieces regularly. Christie's, Sotheby's, Bonhams. Each auction brings millions more. A simple black cocktail dress from the 1960s sells for $150,000 in 1997. An evening coat from the 1970s brings $200,000 in 2001. By 2003, 10 years after Audrey's death, Tanja has made over $15 million from her friendship with Audrey Hepburn. She's bought houses in Switzerland and Germany, luxury cars, jewelry, artwork, all funded by the woman who trusted her with her most precious possessions. The irony is devastating. Audrey, who lived modestly despite her fame, who gave millions to charity, who was famously generous with her friends, would be horrified to know her kindness was exploited for profit. She gave those dresses to Tanja because she loved her, trusted her, believed she would treasure them. Instead, Tanja saw them as commodities, as investment opportunities, as her path to wealth. The fashion world never forgave Tanja. Museum curators who had begged Audrey for donations watched helplessly as priceless pieces disappeared into private collections. Fashion historians lost access to garments that told the story of 20th century style. Students and researchers were denied the opportunity to study Audrey's clothing up close. All because one woman chose profit over preservation. Sean and Luca Hepburn never spoke to Tanja again after the first auction. They couldn't forgive her betrayal. They couldn't understand how someone could take advantage of their dying mother's generosity. Years later, in a rare interview, Sean said, "My mother believed in the goodness of people. She trusted Tanja completely. That trust was betrayed in the worst possible way. Those dresses weren't just clothes. They were pieces of our mother's life, and they were sold like merchandise." Today, Tanja Star-Busmann lives quietly in Switzerland. She's wealthy beyond imagination, but she's also alone. The fashion world ostracized her. Audrey's friends cut her off. She has the money she always wanted, but she lost something much more valuable: respect, honor, the friendship of one of the most beloved women in history. The dresses are scattered around the world now, in private collections, in museums that paid millions for what should have been donated. Some have disappeared entirely, hidden away in closets of wealthy collectors who bought them as investments, not out of love for Audrey or fashion history. This is the story of how friendship became commerce, how trust became profit, how the generosity of one of Hollywood's most beloved icons was exploited by someone she considered family. Audrey Hepburn gave Tanja Star-Busmann her wardrobe out of love. Tanja sold it for money. And in doing so, she betrayed not just Audrey, but everyone who believed in the power of true friendship. The dresses that once brought joy to Audrey, that made her feel beautiful and confident, that helped create some of cinema's most iconic moments, are now reduced to auction lot numbers, price tags, investment portfolios. The woman who wore them with such grace and dignity would weep to see how her final act of friendship was repaid. With betrayal, with greed, with the cold calculation of profit over love. This is Audrey Hepburn, The Hidden Truth. From wartime horrors to Hollywood secrets, we uncover what they've been hiding for decades. Subscribe to discover the dark truth behind the elegant image.